Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome to my channel, where as parents we teach each other, we enlighten each other, we learn from each other, right? Today we're gonna talk about trauma. I know a lot of people don't really want to go there, right? It's too dark or it's too painful. But for you to heal, you need to go there. You need to go through it. You can't go around it, right? So we're going to talk about what trauma is and how do we carry it to the next generations. How do we carry it from childhood to adulthood? Because, when you go through a trauma and you're a child, there's nothing you can do, because you're a child. And if your parents don't know anything about what they're doing to you, you carry that trauma along to the next generation, and that if that is not healed, you carry it to the next generation. So your generational bloodline will be just a traumatized one, right, until you heal it. So we have different kind of traumas. We've got individual traumas, which a human being or an individual carry, like you grew up with parents who were beating you up, who were belittling you, who were using words, who were comparing you to your other siblings. For a child, that's trauma, right? And we have collective trauma. Collective trauma is encountered by like a country, right? Like a war or like a high level of crime. As a country, we feel that, and that's traumatizing for us, right? And then we have collective I did also the collective. So we have generational trauma. So one generation to another. First generation, if the trauma is not healed, it go to the next generation, and that if that's not healed, it go to the next generation. You get the point, right? So we need to heal. We need to do better than the past generations did, right? My story is I was living with, maybe you hear from the past video, I was living with parents who were totally opposites, right? My mom was loving and generous and comforting, and my dad was a total maniac, right? Who was always screaming, and all the drama that's surrounding him came to us, in the house, came to me. And when I had my child, my first child, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I need somebody to talk to about what I'm feeling inside. I'm not feeling okay as a parent. Something is not right? So I sat down with my mom and we talked, and although she was very comforting and reassuring, I think I needed more. I needed professional help. I needed somebody who would make me understand what is going on inside of me. I needed to understand what was going on, why there's someone who is so cruel, and another person that is so loving and supportive and understanding, who was my mom. I couldn't understand that. I couldn't reconcile that in my mind, that how could one person, they are both human beings, right? How could one person be so cruel and the other be so loving, and they stay together? How's that possible? For me, that was a problem, right? And that's when I went and got help for myself. So I know that a lot of um, some people will think, oh no, actually, I really don't want to go for counseling, right? I was not raised like that. Counseling is for crazy people. It's not, okay? It's for you to heal everything else and to make you understand where you got to where you are. But anyway, for me not to talk too much, I can talk forever. Let's get to the video that explains it better, you know? And thanks to the Psych2Go, because I saw this video from them, and I thought it was a great video for us to see, and for you to open a dialogue with your kids. You know, maybe they are traumatized about something that you were not aware of. You know, let's cut these generational curses, right? And perhaps in your family as well, there's individual traumas, right? That needs to be healed. So let's learn, and let's watch this next video, and then send me your comments, and tell me what else you guys want to talk about, and then I'll do a research on that. And please like, share, to other people, and let's open the dialogue that we need to open, and let's talk about stuff that we really need to talk about, right? And let's watch the video, and I will come back to explain more about it when we're done. There we go.
When you think of trauma, what things pop up in your mind? Is it a natural disaster, a terminal illness, a plane crash? Yes, experiencing these life-threatening events, also known as large T traumas, may engrave a deep emotional scar and render you feeling powerless and helpless. In an interview with Real Simple magazine, psychiatrist Dr. Christine Moutier mentioned that there are other seemingly less significant experiences that can cause similar devastating emotional impact. These occurrences, also known as small t traumas, are ego-threatening instead of life-threatening because they impair our emotional functioning and surpass our ability to cope. But don't allow the lingo large T and small t traumas to fool you into thinking one is more important than the other. The categories are intended to guide professionals toward the appropriate treatment options for different people. What makes minor T events so bewildering is their cumulative influence, which may create psychological damage as time passes or with repetition. One of the examples of small T traumas, or the ones that we often dismiss, frequently moving. Home is usually a familiar, secure place. Its layout is second nature to you. Even if it's totally dark, you're still able to find your way to the toilet. The same goes for the grocery store you go to buy your favorite ice cream, or the route you take to the bus stop. Your brain is on autopilot. It knows the surrounding area inside out. But what happens when you have to pack up your entire life over and over again? Moving makes you lose your life map, and then you have to remap it from scratch each time you move to a new place. Licensed marriage and family therapist Yael Haklai Nyagu explained that moving is stressful and traumatic because of the loss of familiarity. Not only does your new environment impact how you react to your new surroundings and culture, but it also impacts how you relate to yourself. For instance, culture shock and language barrier might cause a sense of foreignness and self-esteem concerns. Relocation also changes the nature of all types of relationships because you're no longer as physically close to family and friends as you once were. You may no longer be available to each other in the same way. As a result, the level of emotional connection you have with each other also changes. Emotionally invalidated. Ouch, that hurts! You scream in pain after you fall on your knees while running in a baseball field. The pain is so intense that you start crying. Your father then says to you, "What are you crying for? You're 10 years old, man up. Big boys don't cry." Clinical psychologist Dr. Salil Feinberg explains that when your emotional experience is invalidated and you are told that your thoughts and feelings are unacceptable, you're actually experiencing emotional invalidation. It sends a message, "I don't care about your feelings. Your feelings don't matter. Your feelings are wrong." A study by a group of researchers published in the Journal of Child Abuse Neglect looked at the link between emotional invalidation as a child and psychological distress as an adult. The findings reveal that childhood emotional invalidation was linked to chronic emotional restraint in adulthood. Consequently, it caused psychological distress, especially manifested as depression and anxiety-related symptoms. Parents with emotional dysregulation. Imagine a singer who can sing several octaves higher than the people around her. If the muse hits, she can't help but sing spontaneously. Now take her singing and replace it with emotions, and you begin to understand what it means to have emotional dysregulation. Psychology professor Dr. Annie Tanasugarn says that growing up with parents who have difficulties regulating their emotions may cause you to also experience emotional dysregulation. We need our parents to show us how to feel big emotions as children. If our parents overreact to situations, become overly dramatic, or display anger outbursts, we may subconsciously learn that these are the right emotional responses to situations and adapt a similar response. Living in tumultuous and unstable environments as a child may cause us to grow into adults that struggle with anger issues or feel alienated from their emotions. This can raise the chance of creating traumatic bonds with romantic partners. Being invisible. Let's take a moment and reminisce about when you were a child. Would you, with a smile on your face, say, "My parents, they weren't perfect, but I always knew they loved me just as I was"? Or would you say, "My parents always wanted me to be something I wasn't"? Licensed professional counselor Dr. Sherry Steins says that growing up as an invisible child means that you may battle with your needs to be seen and heard. We are driven by our core human needs to be seen, heard, and authentically expressing ourselves. You wouldn't be able to fulfill these emotional needs if your parents were not open with who you actually were, and instead they wanted you to be what they wanted you to be, filtered through their own desires. To gain affection or acceptance, you begin to reject aspects of your true self. You are conditioned to consider others' needs, wants, and desires, not your own. As a result, you struggle with knowing who you are on the most basic level. Once this conditioning is in place, the invisible child grows into an invisible adult who has difficulty finding their own voice and place in the world. Constant yelling. As a young child, how do you feel if you face your mother's constant tirades, her loud voice, her shrill tone, her scornful facial expressions? Do her insults still haunt you even as an adult? Licensed and clinical social worker Hilary Hendel shares her client's story, who recounts that it was traumatizing to experience frequent yelling as a child. Researcher Josh Sisler explains that constant yelling impacts the mind, brain, and body in numerous ways, including causing your emotional brain or the amygdala to become more active, increasing stress hormones in the blood, and your muscles to become tenser. Our experiences of being yelled at as children impact how we feel about ourselves, even when we become adults. Because the brain is wired according to our experiences, we hear our parents' voices in our heads even when they're not around. Clinical psychologist Ruben Kadam says that the overwhelming majority of people will experience a traumatic incident at some point in their lives. However, not everyone faces challenges after a distressing event, but if you are experiencing difficulty, trauma therapy may assist you in feeling more grounded, secure, and in charge of how to properly handle suffering when it does arise. Yes, therapy will not immediately make the ache disappear, but it will transform your connection with your trauma such that it becomes just one part of you rather than controlling your life. And remember, you matter.
There you are, parents. We have to be very, very careful at what we say to our kids and how we present ourselves to our kids. Remember, our kids don't hear anything we say. They watch what we do, right? So let's just do better and be better parents and communicate with our children better. But thank you for watching my video. The next video will still continue on trauma because we were doing the childhood. Now we will take the journey on how you get to adulthood and how we can curb the scourge of 3-year-olds in adults' bodies, But thank you so much for watching. I love you all so much. I'm sending so much love, light, and healing. See you soon. Bye.